this is democracy now. Juan?
Well, last year, Ras Baraka was elected mayor of Newark. I want to go to an excerpt of his inaugural speech.
We need a mayor that will call for everyone to pay their fair share, that will find new revenue and new growth. A mayor that will take us past Brick City and help us embrace our future. We need a mayor that will harness the power of small business, our universities, the promise of our seaport and our airport to benefit the hundreds and thousands of us. A mayor that puts his city first. A mayor that never forgets how he got here. Yeah, we need a mayor that's radical.
That was back in 2014. What has surprised you since you've been in office? What did you not expect in the short time you've been in office so far?
Well, I don't know if anything surprises me about. I think I've been, ideologically and politically prepared for what to expect when I got in that place. I think ultimately, the surprising, what can be most surprising, is the idea that we have not discovered how to get exactly what we need in these cities, the problems that have existed and how intrinsic and systemic they are for the last 50, 60 years, and how people have accepted, these kind of systemic problems. They figure poverty existed before you got there, it's going to exist when you leave. Inequality existed before you got there, it's going to exist when you leave. There's really no need to beat yourself up and try to, fix these problems that ultimately can't get you elected or unelected. So these are the things that surprise me, that there are people in positions of power and bureaucrats who believe these kinds of things, who've been there forever.
And I want to ask you about your relationship with two key figures in New Jersey, the governor, Governor Christie, and also the Senator Cory Booker. Governor Christie, I think one of the first times he met you, called you a hostile person.
Yeah.
How has that gone since then?
Well, Christie, I think, lives in his own mind. The reality is the meeting we had was nothing close to hostile. I think that was to, play out to his supporters, and which is what he does every day, every time he says something on the TV, on the radio. I mean, ultimately, I think that, he's completely, in my mind, out of touch with what needs to happen in these inner cities, in these urban centers in America. I think he's completely has no idea what to do in these communities. As a matter of fact, I think the things that he has done has inhibited growth in these cities, and for the most part. And our relationship has been a matter-of-fact kind of relationship. When we need economic development, if I need something, he needs something. So it's been really transactional and nothing other than that.
And Cory Booker?
Cory Booker has, interestingly enough, have been working together since I became the mayor, and he's the U.S. Senator. I mean, some of our issues have definitely coalesced around gun control, one of them, prison reentry, criminal justice reform. So we've been working together around those specific things. I think the Senate was a better suit for him. He could fit that a little better. So we have been working together around those specific issues. Putting
your city into some historical context, I want to go back to 2007 when we interviewed your father, Amiri Baraka, on the 40th anniversary of the 1967 uprising in Newark. He talked about the historical roots of what happened.
You have to start with slavery, because those abuses have never been eradicated. People are not living in slums because they voted to. Their children not in jail because they wanted them to. These are the results of a people who've been oppressed and suffer national oppression, And so in a city like Newark, which is the third oldest city in the United States, by the way, where all these kind of abuses sort of converge, and the racism on top of that, I mean, one absurd example is one time I was directing a play, and the police rushed into the loft, and the man actually took the script out of my hand, as if it was some kind of a volatile weapon,
That was the great poet, Amiri Baraka. Newark's about to celebrate its 350th anniversary. You talked about changing the prison system. You talked about the problems of reentry. Trillions of dollars is going into war right now, globally. What difference would it make if that money stayed home in a city like yours, one of the poorest in the country?
An immense difference. We've been talking in the last couple of months about an urban Marshall Plan, about us in these cities not being really able to benefit even from the New Deal. Segregation and racism was so at its height during the time of the New Deal, when people left the cities and they subsidized these corridors that put people in the suburbs and got them to work in the cities. And now you're seeing a trend back to the cities. There's been real neglect in these communities. There's been neighborhoods that I've lived in and looked the same way for the last 5 decades. Buildings that have been hollowed out, vacant lots, have been destroyed. Unless they put a bunch of money in and re-gentrify the neighborhood, then it changes. But nothing in terms of the people that have been there for decades, and their family even for centuries. My family's been in Newark almost 100 years. There's nothing been given to those folks. Job training, job development, infrastructure redevelopment, roads, bridges, highways, hospitals, schools, putting people to work, giving people jobs, giving people decent education. All of that is necessary in a democracy and to move America forward. I think America will never be what they purport it to be until they begin to invest in its urban centers. And in order for them to be able to do that, they have to get rid of the racism, which disallows them from investing in these cities the way they ought to. If we had that money, there would be a lot that we could do in terms of poverty in these communities, in terms of violence and gun violence, which is really bred by poverty and isolation and anger and post-traumatic stress. All of that stuff can be dealt with if we had that money.
Well, Ras Baraka, we want to thank you very much for being with us. The mayor of Newark, New Jersey, elected in May 2014. The city about to celebrate its 350th anniversary.